Good morning! I think you're up. Allison will be joining us shortly. I wanted to go ahead and start so we weren't starting too late. Welcome, everybody. Back to OK, we're up. We have been gone for a little bit, mostly because I've been working on a video. We hit crunch time on a video, and so I was staying up late, working on editing the Empire of Sin thing that went up, and so yeah, getting up in the morning was hard. So we just didn't. But we're back. Well, I'm back, and we'll have Allison back here soon. How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for joining in today. As you can see, we got some Christmas lights up in the background. We're working on getting some more stuff. There's actually some all over this room, but it's all, I guess, everywhere except for this frame. There's wrapping paper on the couch, but that's not a decoration. That's just a mess that I have to clean up. But yeah, we're getting all Christmased up over here because it's been a long year of depression. So why not stick lights everywhere? I think that's basically our plan. How do I hold a conversation with chat by myself? Allison, come here. I'm awkward but alone. I'm awkward alone. Anyway, I guess I'll just talk about the video for a little bit because that's what I've been doing and what I've been thinking about. But yeah, the Empire Sin video went up and that was super fun. I think we got some behind the scenes stuff on that, and Allison's gonna edit together like a vlog style thing for the second channel soon that'll have like some footage from older videos on it. And we'll eventually get to the new stuff as well. Gaslight Studios asks, what was your favorite part of filming the Empire of Sin vid? That's a good question. Honestly, there's a lot of really good parts. My favorite part of filming it was that the entire San Antonio group was able to film it perfectly by themselves and then send me all the footage, and it all just worked. And it was a very like proud father moment of getting all of like having them do everything exactly right and exactly the way I would have done it if I were there.
It's just business.
Business. Also drinking, that was fun. I actually just took 2 shots of whiskey before that. That's the secret.
That's right. I forgot about that actually.
So yeah, filming was fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
How you doing?
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much were you awake last night?
Like 2 or 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I have this thing going on where when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up in the middle of the night because it feels like my like brain is pulsing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. Or like buzzing. It feels like I have all this like static in my head.
That sucks.
But not like emotional or mental static. Like it physically feels like it's like in my brain, and it's like, I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you didn't have problems the 2 nights before.
No, I've been having it for a few weeks.
Oh, I thought you said you slept fine like the last 2 nights.
I did. I got 2 nights.
Is it because you think it's because you know you have something to do when you wake up? Because you were doing it when you had to get up and run too.
No.
No, okay, that's it.
No, I think it's because of the pulsating thing in my brain.
Well, right, I'm wondering if that's happening because that's somehow connected.
It's a physical thing. Maybe it has something to do with the way that I'm sleeping.
Like the way you're physically
position
laying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sleep is weird.
I agree.
I keep having these dreams where I have like some really vague production problem that like I'm like harping over. It's not even important. It's not a big deal. It's just enough that my brain won't let it go, and it's not real. We're not working on anything. My brain will invent a fake production problem on a production I'm not on, and then I'll think about that somehow while sleeping, and then we'll wake up stressed out and have to remind myself that I don't actually have anything to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that comes from. It's really frustrating because like I've been working really hard, I feel like, over the last 2 years to move myself out of like the mindset of like having to get stuff done, you know?
I had a really weird dream. I had a dream that I was living in this like really strange flat farmhouse type thing, and I lived in this one very small closet type room with like 6 people who I was apparently friends with. We were all trying to figure out how to get out of the house, and there was like a very large, old, disgusting sleeping man in the house, who kept us there, and so we had to figure out how to get out of the house without waking him up because he would throw us back in the closet.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
That was a weird dream. It wasn't like scary, it was just sort of stressful, and I remember being able to get out of the closet and not wake him up. But then he had like 3 or 4 really awful cats that would freak out if they ever saw anybody trying to open the door. Huh. So I could never get out because the cats would scream. So I remember like I opened the door and then I just like punted a cat out so that it wouldn't scream. And then I tried to leave, but then he caught me, so it was really weird.
Yeah, that also sounds terrible.
What?
Alphalite asked, is Allison experiencing a psychic drone affecting all female colonists? Speaking of which, I'm playing that with Ethan again today. I'll be streaming
it's a RimWorld thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be streaming RimWorld at 1 o'clock Central.
Yeah.
Again with Ethan. I think that's the plan at least. We said Thursday.
Punted a cat. I did. In the dream.
Drayon brought up, I don't know if anybody's been watching mystery channels on YouTube, but there's a crazy monolith disappearing and reappearing all over the place. I saw a little mention of that once, and now it's turned into a meme.
What happened?
But I haven't looked into it enough. There's like this weird, tall, mirror-reflective rectangle that someone's like, I don't know how much of this is fake or made up or staged or what it is, but I saw a post about someone finding this tall mirror-shaped rectangle like in the desert somewhere, and then a post later about it being gone, and now there's memes of people being like, my PS5 just came in the mail, and then it's just that in their living room or something, and it's like it's so, I don't know any details about it. I just know it's like turned into a weird little internet thing now.
I saw half of that one. I saw half of that meme, which is the people showed up to go find the weird monolithic statue in the canyon or whatever. Yeah. But there's like a little creature in the canyons that's like peeking out from behind it. And it's this weird spooky thing, and that's all I've seen. So. But
I don't know how much, like, is there anything actually, like, is the whole thing just a goof people are kind of doing together, or was there actually a thing someone found and then disappeared? Like, is there any validity or reality or mystery to this, or is it just like or is it just an internet meme from the start? I actually don't know.
I have no idea.
Maybe somebody in chat will be aware. Overlight says, supposedly the monolith was found during a routine animal population count.
Did anybody actually
took a photo or something?
Has anybody seen it? There's actually a photo of it?
There are photos of it, but again, I haven't looked into it enough to know if they're even real photos.
Where was it?
I don't know. I'm not sure where that was exactly.
How is anybody supposed to have seen this picture if nobody knows where it is?
Well, I'm sure somebody knows. I just don't know. I don't know anything about this. I know about 1% of this story because I vaguely saw like a couple Reddit posts.
What's the beginning of this story? Where was the picture? Where did the picture say it was?
I think the beginning was I don't know. Somebody tell us where they found it. Dracon says Utah.
Okay.
Patient says it was there for years, confirmed by Google Earth pics, but only recently found.
Oh yeah, there's the picture.
So, I have no idea.
It's just a weird metal bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've just been seeing jokes about it, just people just throw pictures up on Reddit about like they act like it's going to be something else, and then it's just a photo of that thing just in their backyard or something.
Interesting. Oh well.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. Once you've been around on the internet for like 20 years, but the bar gets set pretty high.
What is this? What is that?
What? Oh, that's our
treadmill.
Our treadmill, yeah.
Okay.
We moved that out of this room today.
Are we doing that?
I think so. We cleared space for it downstairs.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see.
It'll just be a backup for when we're not running, I guess, huh?
Why did people remove it? I don't understand. I don't understand this trend.
I don't get the joke either. It's fine. We'll look it up later. It's probably not. It's not something. It's not gonna be interesting for us to talk about it if we have no idea what it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just saw the comment and was kind of curious to get some chat information on it because I had seen a couple things about it, but had no idea what was supposed to be happening.
How do you feel about strip clubs?
Is that in the chat, or did you just come up with that?
I was just curious.
How do I feel about strip clubs?
Yeah.
I think they look weird and sad and gross based on all the sitcoms that I see them in.
Okay, yeah, that's a good opinion to have, I guess. Makes sense.
I don't know, sitcoms only... I don't know if they only paint it as depressing places that the worst people in their shows go.
I wake up just like thinking about weird status quo things that never have made like total sense to me. And there's always this idea that like men just get to go to strip clubs because they just like gotta or whatever, you know? And then women just have to like deal with it or else they're crazy and weird. And I was like, wait, what? How do people get away with that?
Okay, there is kind of a thing, and maybe this is just because I live in different circles than other people, but like, to me there are definitely there are things that don't match up in my real life to what's portrayed on TV. Is it really just that acceptable in real life, the way that it's like, that it's shown on sitcoms, or is that a TV thing?
Yeah. No, it is. It's supposed to be, at least. Like, in sitcoms, the only difference is that, like, girls are cool with it, but in real life, girls aren't that cool with it. But then there's, like, all this pressure for your girlfriend to be really cool with it, because it's, like, a totally normal thing that you just do with the boys sometimes.
Okay, but in sitcoms, like every guy has been to a strip club at some point, and that doesn't feel nearly as true in real life. I don't know if I know anyone who's been to a strip club. Like, everyone knows they exist, and we drive by them, like, on the Austin Highway all the time, but, like...
No, I think I don't know if most people have, but...
And again, I run in very specific circles, so, like, once you're around, you know, football sports guys with regular jobs, I don't know if maybe that's a completely normal thing to have done.
Drayon says, I've heard some strip clubs actually have good food. I've not been there because I really don't find them all that okay. I don't think that's real. Think about it.
Cannot confirm, and never will.
It's only a secret you have to keep between you and the people you go to a strip club with. And so if you come up with a good excuse, then it's easier to keep the secret.
What secret? That the food's good?
That you're going, I guess. Like, oh, well, it's just that the food's good. We just go at lunch or whatever. I don't know. I hate all the everything about the way that strip clubs exist in society and relationships. And I don't mind sex work. That's totally different. I don't have problems. Actually, you know, I was thinking about this the other day on my walk, which is there like is there a way in society that we want men to reach a certain standard of respectable and like feminist level, right? Like all men in society, right? Like if we in theory reach exactly the level of demand that we have for men to be a certain way, and that's reached.
Yeah.
Does female sex work still exist in the same way? Or is female sex work inherently profiting off of the fact that men
I think it 100%
things?
Is. Yeah.
So does that mean that sex work just disappears?
I don't know if it would disappear entirely. There's so many lonely people with money, and I think that's still totally fine if they wanted to make the decision to spend it on that, but like, I don't think it would exist in quite the same way anymore.
Wow. Yeah, I have to think about this more.
But it probably would go, you know, both ways more also. Like,
I can't read chat. It's so far away. Why do you keep it all the way over there? They can't see it if it's close. Why is it so far? I don't know what people are saying. Delphilight says, on the topic of strip clubs, if your country's prime minister's son is cited going to a strip club, is it newsworthy? Does it reflect anything on the prime minister?
I guess that's why it confused me. It's one of those things where it's like, if somebody important does it, if like that, like, yeah, if you saw that, if the president was seen at a strip club, it would be, it'd be scandalous. But then we're also assuming not the last president, but I'm speaking in general terms, the president was seen going to a strip club. It would be a thing on the news. Again, the landscape has changed a bit. I might be speaking like a bit 4 years ago here, but it would be like a thing. But at the same time, it's also just like something that we just accept that men do. Like it's a weird
Yeah, how do we get there? How
dichotomy.
do we
I don't
let
know
that
how
happen? Because I don't know.
Like, is it okay or not? Like, make up your freaking mind at least.
What isn't cheating about it?
Well, it depends on if you're in a relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're single, I don't really see any issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what, even
necessary.
in the sitcoms, that's the joke, is that it's the gross single, it's Barney Stinson going to the strip clubs. He drags his friends along, and then that's the conflict of the episode, is that their girlfriends aren't okay with it, and it's, but like...
It's weird how I feel on this, because I don't know if I have a fully, like, developed opinion, because it feels icky on only one side and totally normal on the other side. Like, women's sex workers does not faze me, even remotely, as like a weird concept or a weird thing or inappropriate. But men partaking in it feels totally different. I don't know.
You're not wrong.
Skeeves me out, but less than it skeeves me out that men do it. It's the relationship dynamic that I think freaks me out, which is like every relationship I've been in that isn't this one actually. That isn't this one and the last one, was always this sort of like, men just go to strip clubs and you just like deal with it or else you're like weird and crazy and stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't even think in today's world that is normal.
No, that's normal.
I don't think that's true.
No,
I don't think most healthy relationships that last a decent amount of time exist under the assumption that the husband is just going to go to strip clubs sometimes. I don't think that's okay. I don't think if you talk to anybody, friends, psychologist, anyone, they would okay that.
Maybe this is only perpetuated in TV shows then.
That's what I was asking. Is like, is this a real thing, or is it just something that like? My best example of this is the '80s bully trope, like the bully who like slams you into lockers and stuff.
No, that's real.
But is it really though?
Well,
do bullies? I don't think that's true.
They don't throw you into lockers.
Like, I'm not a high schooler right now. Maybe you guys are, but I don't believe that a guy in a... Sorry, I wanted to just see what the most recent one was. I don't believe that somebody in a leather jacket comes down the hallway with two goons following him, calls you gay, and then shoves you in a locker anymore. I don't think that's a thing. I don't. I think people get cyberbullied. I think people get made fun of by the trendy kids and mocked for not being woke enough. I don't think it's the same thing. I think that bully probably happened to a couple people who grew up to be writers. They made the trope, and then everybody imitated the trope in their writing, because that's what writing is. You just take what you've seen on TV, and then you rewrite that, even if that's not what you've seen in real life.
I think it must depend on where you live and what's wrong with you. Like, if you're gay... You probably get thrown in lockers. If you're in rural Texas, you probably get thrown in lockers. Like,
I believe that happened before. I don't know if it still happens now.
I think it does still happen now, because small towns, especially like just going off Texas, because I don't know what everyone else is like, but in small towns or in rural parts of Texas, they have not left like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Like, they're all really behind.
That's
like
true.
Even if you go to Wichita Falls, they're wearing... It's really interesting. If you go to small towns in Texas, they are wearing the clothes that people wore 20 years ago. It's like all of their trendy shops are the Goodwills of
but
like
20
the city.
years ago is when I was in school, and that wasn't happening then either.
I wanted to read some things. So Tactics Line says, I don't know anyone personally that has been to a strip club. This is becoming more and more accurate to me as I get older. I don't actually know anyone who's been, like, I know people who've been to strip clubs.
I don't know anyone who knows anyone who's been to a strip club. Like, it's the net's getting wider of people who I don't actually, like, I don't know who's going.
I'm not trying to out people. I'm not going to out people to you, but I definitely know people who've been to strip clubs.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what?
Care.
Oh my god.
Which people you know?
I went to Amsterdam with my brother, his roommate, my boyfriend, and myself. And they have the red light district.
Yeah.
Which is just not a strip club,
just an outdoor strip club side of the city.
No, it's just a prostitution ring set up as window shopping.
Oh.
They're in windows. They're in little containers, and you just look at them and then you buy them. And they have it's literally like a little room with a door and a window, and you enter through the front if you pay them, and then you exit out the back, and then that window is empty while they're doing stuff. And we just went. I went because I wanted to see what it was like, because everyone was like, oh, you're in Amsterdam, you have to go to the red light district, and I'm like...
Why is that like a tourist? Okay, so that's weird. The fact that that's like a tourist stop.
I think it must just be like the shock and
you
novelty
need to go see
of
this
it.
historic building and also the stripper road. Like, what is that? Why is that part of the
No, it's
just the tourist experience of going to a country?
I think it's the shock and the novelty because like there were women with like strollers and grandmothers there. Like this, everyone.
Right,
was
okay,
there.
this is just supporting my
No, I
confusion.
know. It also takes up a massive part of the city. I mean, it's like it's like it's like 4 streets or whatever. But it's just like. That's just like a thing, and like women were with their husbands and stuff, and women weren't paying any attention, probably because they weren't gay. But like, I don't know.
We're gonna need to come up with a second topic of this thing pretty fast because it's gonna be really difficult for me to make a thumbnail to this episode.
Okay, fair enough. Ursa says my husband went to a strip club before we met and got a lap dance. Apparently, it was the most depressing place he's been to. Yeah, I think if you're normal, if you're normal, you feel that way. Like I think you just how do you comfortable at a strip club?
I don't know.
That just seems strange to me. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. Like strip clubs themselves aren't the weird thing. The weird thing to me is the standard of just like you're cool with this, right? Everyone's cool with this. Like everyone just does this, and everyone's just like chill with it. But like,
well, that's why I'm wondering like, is everyone actually chill with it, or were people just made to think it was? I think people's perceptions of real things are shaped by their media portrayals a lot more than people want to admit.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of relationships. I remember thinking, your mom had a movie playing downstairs a couple days ago, like some kind of Christmas movie, and it was like I think it was a rom-com or something. And I walked in, there was a bunch of women talking about the guys there, and I just heard the dialogue for like 2 minutes, and I was like, no wonder I thought I couldn't be friends with women.
Yeah.
I grew up hearing movies like that.
Yeah.
Written probably by sad men who weren't friends with women, but still, like, it was just like them talking about like how stupid guys were and crap. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was such bad dialogue too. I was like listening to it and I was like, why did movies get away with sounding this unrealistic, I guess is what it is. Like, the stuff they're talking about, the way they're speaking, it's like a movie dialogue, actually, I think is a great example of what I'm talking about, where like people talked in movies for a long time in a way that no one has ever spoken before. Like, they'll say things that no one in real life would ever say. And it's because the writers aren't writing down things that they think real people would say. They're imitating stuff they've watched. That's pretty much it. I
think it's both.
I think
people probably actually talk like that.
Right, because they watched it. That's the reason. It's because they're influenced the same way we are. They watched people talk that way on TV. Yeah. And you see more of that than you see actual conversations, probably, if you're someone who grows up to be a screenwriter.
Yeah, so. TV really messes up our understanding of, like, people we don't interact with on a regular basis.
Yeah, yes.
Like, I'll never...
Yes.
I recently saw a TikTok, and the TikTok was this really hot take that I hadn't thought about necessarily, but the take was men and women are raised so differently in society based on like the gender role, like traditional gender roles that they're raised in, that by the time they grow up, they are inherently incompatible unless they reject the gender roles and status quo that was assigned to them, or they entirely accept them and don't question them whatsoever. And that is the only way you can be compatible. Otherwise, men and women who grow up just attempting to be compatible with each other can't be, based on the way that they're raised. And I thought that was really... I think about
that's
that
true,
a
at
lot.
least within our... like our social structure here in the U.S. I don't know about the entire world.
Because you watch movies and you're like, if you don't have regular interactions with women and you listen to that dialogue, you're like... Yeah,
well, I guess that's what I was saying. Like, before I was friends with women as other people, I was shown that they were weird and different and that you were... I don't know, it's just like the portrayal of how that relationship was supposed to exist was very... And I know people still do exist like that now, but I think they do because they were taught they were supposed to.
Yeah.
I think, like, I've seen people who are still like, men and women can't be friends without being in a relationship. There's these different, I don't know, it's usually tied into, it's either like party college people or like, Christians, I think. Yeah. I think what happened, I think a lot of this broke down because of the internet. I think the internet came around and then everybody was able to meet each other and actually talk to each other. And as happens, once you're able to get a bunch of different perspectives on things, you start realizing that the limited ones you've seen aren't the full picture. And then...
I don't know if that's even true. I think not from movies at least. I think what happened in movies was that we got really comfortable with a certain type of movie that existed. Like after the 80s and 90s, every movie was really kind of coming up on the same sort of trend. Lots of rom-coms, lots of like feel-good coming-of-age movies, like all that kind of stuff. And I think it really just took one guy to break the status quo in the mold of like movie making and dialogue, and they wrote like a normal female character. And it really caught people's attention because it was now this new, unique idea that women were people in movies, like fully fledged kind of concepts. And I think it's why I actually think it's why the indie trend took off so well, is because people were really interested in seeing this new perspective on humans existing like humans
as a
in TV.
Some filmmaking insight. I think the reason that appeared first in indie films is because those films weren't being run past 60-year-old male producers who probably did still think you were supposed to talk to them that way. Like they were being submitted to festivals, so regular people were seeing them and being like, "Oh, this feels real," right?
Yeah.
And that slowly seeped its way into things. Like I actually think that dialogue problem doesn't exist nearly as much anymore.
Is Chet talking about the Bechdel test without me?
Yes, they are.
What?
I think somebody brought it up, and it's a conversation.
It's like Drayon did. What is the Bechdel test? Have they explained it?
Yeah, they've been talking about it.
There are two or more women on screen at the same time who have a conversation without bringing up men.
We've probably talked about it in other podcasts or something.
I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a little deeper than that too. Aren't they supposed to be named?
It does mention, two named female. The Bechdel test is like, does your work have two named female characters who have a conversation with each other about something that isn't a man? That's the question. It's not a perfect test. It's not like if you pass the test, you're correctly feminist, and if you don't, you're awful. But it's a good baseline of like, the reason the test is interesting is because of how few things pass it. Like you run all your favorite things by it, and you'd be surprised how many movies don't even achieve that one little thing. And it's just kind of it's a commentary on the whole because I've heard people argue against the Bechdel test being wrong because like it doesn't have to.
Movie standards.
What?
It's the washing your butt of movie standards.
I don't know what that means. I don't know where you're going.
It means like I don't know why I've been thinking about it so much, but my point is like it doesn't make it, if you don't pass the Bechdel test, it doesn't make it a bad movie necessarily, right? Because like Lord of the Rings doesn't pass the Bechdel test. That's what everybody likes to talk about, and that's the like go-to example of like there's not a single woman and everyone likes this movie.
It's not a good test of the movie's
It's funny though because most people who like Lord of the Rings are still men. Like I know women like Lord of the Rings. They're just not like women don't speak out against Lord of the Rings as much as men speak for the Lord of the Rings. But it doesn't matter. So Bechdel test, if you don't pass it, doesn't make your movie bad. It's just baseline of like how are we still not doing this as a society, as filmmakers?
It's more of like I guess the experiment is like it's like this test shouldn't be relevant, but it is, and that's a problem.
Right, yes. That's how it translates to butt washing. Which I just had this conversation with my family and other women everywhere who date men that don't know that you're supposed to clean your butt every day. Every single day in the shower, you have to clean your butt. And so many people...
I'm so tired of this conversation.
I know. And so many people don't know about it. And so it's like, it doesn't make you a bad man or a bad boyfriend or bad anything. But baseline, it's like, how did we miss this one thing? How did we just let everyone go by without not teaching them that this was very crucial to existing? That's all. That's what the Bechdel test reminds me of. It's just like, baseline, you're not doing this? Stop. Don't not do that. It's too easy to not do. And I'm sorry nobody told you that women mattered. And that's how it is for men who don't know that you have to clean your butt. Clean your butt.
PSA. The more you know.
This is something...
Elverlight said there's about 1 or 2 women in Lord of the Rings, at least 1 elf and 1 spider.
Amazing. Drayon says, Allison, if it weren't for my wife, I wouldn't have gotten that analogy.
God damn it. The patient said today's title, The Butt Wash Test, and now you've locked it in, and I can't not.
Yeah. Yeah, correlation. If you don't wash your butt, you don't know how women are supposed to talk in movies.
That seems like a leap.
No. Anyway, that's all. That's all I have. I won't bring it up again. It just made perfect sense in my brain of just like standard, like the Bechdel test. And if you can't pull off the Bechdel test, then like, shoot. That's all. You're not like canceled. You didn't make a bad movie, but just like.
No, again, it's one of those. This is why this was an argument for a while. I think it still kind of is, except people are finally coming to understand this a little bit more. But like, it was an argument for a little while of like, women not having prominent roles in movies or trying to cast like white male leads or things like that. And the argument against it usually was like, well, this one movie, right? They would bring up like this, like it doesn't have to be that way in this movie. Not every movie has to be this way. And the general like problem is like, yeah, you're not wrong, but it's not a movie by movie argument. It's the whole thing. It's like looking at this one little dot. It's like, this is an all-white male cast, and it's like, that should be okay until you step all the way back, and the whole board is all white guys everywhere. It's like, it's the whole, like, no one raindrop is responsible for the flood kind of thing. It's like, sure, it's not specifically your fault, but, like, systemic issue still, right? So maybe just...
Yeah.
My main thing about it usually is, like, I find it more interesting now. That was the thing. I had a realization recently, which is I find it a lot harder these days to see a white guy as like an underdog character. I watched Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm actually much more into Miles Morales Spider-Man now than I am into Peter Parker Spider-Man, because he just feels easier to root for, because I think legitimately because he's not like a white kid. I think it helps. Right. And I don't know if that's weird to people, or if that sounds like problematic or anything, but like I've also had Peter Parker Spider-Man for my entire life, you know, I've just kind of been used to it, and so Miles feels like fresh and interesting, and I'm playing the game right now, and it's super fun, and like, I don't know, it adds an interesting element to it, like it makes it there's a lot of variety in real life. It's nice that we're getting that variety in things now, I guess is kind of the overarching... I
think that ultimately makes a lot of sense. I think, and I can't tell if it's because the trope is just too tired of, like, white guy down on his luck,
or if it's just all it is. It's just that I've seen it too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, white guys ain't down on their luck or something.
Well, because it's not like they can't be. That's not the issue. It's not that you can't.
But they're never underdogs.
Well, it's. I guess it's just that, like, if you have the white guy and the black guy in the same situation, the black guy still probably, like, definitely has it worse, right? Like, that's the comparison.
I mean, yeah. Yes.
so it just makes it easy. I guess it's
Well, I mean, I think there's...
Stories about people in power aren't interesting.
To be fair, there's pretty distinct differences in storytelling between Peter Parker and Miles, which is like...
Yeah,
Peter Parker is
stories.
a relatively attractive white guy who's incredibly smart and has a lot of things going for him in life.
This is a new thing, though. When he first was introduced, he definitely was not supposed to be attractive or have anything going for him.
I mean, you say that, but one of the first depictions of Peter Parker would have been in a comic book, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You're telling me they drew an ugly comic book character?
Well, let me pull open the picture real fast and see what you think, actually. I'm curious.
Me too, now.
Because I would not describe the original drawing of Peter Parker as attractive.
I don't think comic book people have ever been able to draw anyone ugly.
Not Tobey Maguire, come on.
You just typed in original Peter Parker.
I know, I thought that would bring up the right thing.
The original.
Where's, like, the old... Oh, that was him. Where'd he go? This dude. What do you think about him? I really wish we could show this stuff on stream.
If you look up original Peter Parker comic...
If I Discord it to you and then insert the image on the stream over there, that should work.
Okay. Do it. Wait, did we read it? Did we make sure it was appropriate?
Does he say something in the image?
Yeah.
I didn't actually see if there was dialogue.
It's got thought bubbles.
It's a comic from the 60s.
Whatever.
It's not going to be inflammatory now. Something about the Fantastic Four.
Okay, yeah, no.
It has the word golly in it. I think we're fine.
Okay. The same people that said golly also regularly said the N-word, so
I mean...
like...
That is a good point, and I would love to see that as dialogue somewhere. That reminds me of the Thomas joke.
The Thomas joke?
Yeah.
Is it appropriate?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay, then we won't. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the thing that he said recently that you keep laughing at.
Oh.
Where he used two very different words.
Say that. Yeah. We could say that, actually. I don't think it would be a problem or anything.
I don't remember
I'm gonna bring it up now. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it was just the context was we were describing something.
This is a lot of work to show them one picture that we're not even talking about anymore.
I know, it's stupid. There needs to be a better way to do this. That's not even it.
Aw, that's a nice
picture
picture to accidentally click on, though. Where did you save it? Did you save it to this or your desktop?
Put it on your desktop. Is it this? No, it must be this one then?
Yo, you're making me nervous.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a dangerous game to be playing. All right, this is Peter Parker from the 60s comics.
So that's supposed to be the hideous, ugly man.
I mean, he was the high school nerd.
Well, so one, he doesn't look like a high schooler. He looks like the Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson?
Not Mr. Anderson.
Like Neo?
The guy who says Mr. Anderson.
Oh, like Agent Smith. Okay.
Agent Smith. Sorry. I call him that because it's the only thing he ever says.
He does kind of look like Agent Smith, which is Hugo Weaving, who I would not describe specifically as attractive. But... No,
you're right. Hugo Weaving isn't attractive, and he does look like Hugo Weaving, but that's still an attractive man. So I don't know.
Harris says, he may not be attractive, but he does manage to get the 2 most popular girls at school. That is kind of the other thing, is like, even if... I guess that's what it is. Even when you throw in, like, the nerdy white guy, it's still like wish fulfillment most of the time, at least in older stuff.
Yeah.
Like they may start unsuccessful, but they still turn successful by the end of it, and it doesn't really feel like an underdog story to move from a lower tier of power to a higher tier of power, I guess. So I just find it much more interesting when you have the same kind of story, except just like make it a woman or make it a black guy, and it just suddenly feels much more authentic, I guess. And so I've been enjoying that. I've been realizing that I enjoy that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Which has been nice, actually, because it's opened me up to different types of stories that I probably hadn't seen before or wouldn't have paid attention to otherwise, just accidentally.
So I would argue that this man is not nearly unattractive enough for people to associate Peter Parker with an ugly person, or a nerd person, or a bullied person.
I mean, that is a ridiculous chin, if nothing else. Like
the only thing that's slightly off about the way he looks is his large forehead. That's it.
Yeah.
If you just shrank his forehead, he'd be Clark Kent. Like, there's no distinguishing.
Yeah, he pretty much is just Clark Kent, except his glasses are slightly less trendy and his hair is
dumb. And it really
dumb.
matters how people are visually displayed when you're describing them, because you're like, wow, this guy has nothing going wrong for him.
Well, everyone had this issue with Andrew Garfield when he played Spider-Man.
That's fascinating, because Andrew Garfield's a weird-looking dude.
Which I hit the wrong thing. There we go.
Okay.
And I never thought it was... I always thought it was a dumb argument that Peter couldn't be an attractive person, because I didn't think it had much to do with the story, especially when that one came out, because I was like, that's not even how bullies work anymore, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even how that works. Like, you could be an attractive person and still be, you know, problematic. I don't know. I thought he was fine, because he was weird and awkward, and like you would still be made fun of in that case, I think.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the implication is supposed to be of Peter Parker. He's never been ugly, I guess is what it is. Like, he's never been like an actual unattractive nerd person when in any form of media he's portrayed in.
Well, he's never had problems.
He's no Drayon says he's no Andy Dwyer. I guess that's what it is. Like baseline Andy Dwyer or below is kind of what we should have been looking at for Parks and Rec.
That is Andy Dwyer.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be the ugly guy?
No, but Peter Parker isn't even that. Like, Peter Parker is always even above that level. Like, that's like the highest that kind of person should be, probably.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you still have to... So the problem is you have to turn him into a superhero. So, like, you're like, well, still have to make him fit. Still have to make him
right. He has
smart.
He's never fat beforehand, right? Like, that's never happens.
I'm just saying, like, it's not that it's hard to believe.
Just personality.
It's just that there's a reason. Other people exist and just are inherently have bigger obstacles to overcome than a handsome,
original
smart
Captain America is a better Peter Parker than most of the Peter Parkers are.
That's true too.
Like the really stony-looking Captain America kid from
but he doesn't
like Steve Rogers from 1920.
Either, does he?
He kind of does, but he has like the 1920 problems where it's like, again, like...
He doesn't have problems, he just wants to be big and he's not.
Right, but in the 20s that was an issue, kind of. Like, you were... Like...
Yeah.
I mean, black people literally didn't have rights still in the 20s, so like that wasn't like... Like, that was, like, below rock bottom. So, like, he was still at rock bottom of the white people at the time.
I hear Cat, but I don't see Cat getting into trouble.
You hear Cat?
Oh no, it's my chair.
Oh. Faux UFO says, I want a Spider-Man who stays fat now.
Yes, I think that's completely fucking reasonable. You know, anyway, I agree. I agree with your statement that Miles is easier to root for, personally. I think they wrote him really, really well, and I think they made him have problems. I don't know. I think he's very sympathetic and is a really good underdog character.
It's a psychological thing. He's actually kind of the same as if you had a Peter Parker character. He's just black, and that to me makes a difference.
He's not just black.
It helps.
I don't know anything about Miles other than Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But he's currently like he's super young. Like,
yeah.
He's like high school.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Original Peter was portrayed the same way. He was incredibly young, he was poor,
the picture you just showed me of that high schooler...
They didn't do a good job of drawing them back then, but he was...
so it doesn't convey very well.
I mean, yeah, I would say that... the general storytelling has increased by now, but that's not what I'm measuring. I'm measuring the actual, presentation of of who the character is. And, they both started in similar situations, which
so let's think about
they were impoverished kids in not very well-off parts of New York City. It's just one was a white kid and one's a black kid. That's really the main difference between them.
I mean, they kind of said... I mean, there's just higher stakes and more of an underdog situation with Miles, though. Like, his dad is a cop. That's kind of a big deal, and it plays into his being a superhero kind of thing.
They did his actual home life has changed up a little bit different, which is cool.
Anyway, I don't know.
Trayvon says, is it possible to reach out to the actor who played Jay Harper to play Miles Morales? Wait just a few weeks.
Bruh, I can't with you. I don't remember what I was gonna say. I don't know. I guess I'm mildly proud that at least we got a really good black... Well, actually, we've got 2 really good black superheroes. And still waiting on a good woman.
True.
We'll
get there.
One day. I don't know, people like Wonder Woman. They're wrong, but they like Wonder Woman.
Hey.
The new ones. Original Wonder Woman, I think, is
Did the new
great.
movie come out? Weren't they releasing that on a streaming service?
I think it's this
I didn't
month.
hear anything about it, so I don't know if it came out.
I think it's this month. But yeah, I don't know, I just really want WandaVision to come out. When does that come out again?
Shouldn't it? I thought January. They bumped it back a month, but it's supposed to be coming out, I think, soon.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that.
Fine.
Traycon says December 25th, but I don't know which thing he's talking about now. We brought up a couple... Oh, Wonder Woman. Okay.
Wonder Woman was created to serve bondage fetishes. I mean, yeah, every superhero was created because some white guy needed to live out some fantasy that he had in his head that he could eventually be either super strong and awesome and amazing and every woman would love and adore him, or he had to create a woman who could, realize his fantasies and then sell it to everyone else so that they could also understand.
Turtle Orange Yes said, I liked a couple of the female X-Men. I don't know if they count.
Fucking love X-Men!
I think they're probably the best ones, honestly. Because, the individual standalone Marvel female heroes, I can't think of any good ones, really.
Oh,
but,
the new
a couple
X-Men,
of the X-Men
though?
are alright.
I'm trying to remember the new X-Men. I assume that's who you're talking about. The newer X-Men.
I think she just means the characters. Just in general,
Well, I mean, there's plenty of great superhero female characters that exist now. I'm talking about, ones that have been,
turned into movies.
Yeah, that are modern
prominent.
now, I guess. Because, yeah,
I don't know if there are plenty. That's the thing, though. I don't think there's as much of a wealth. I've seen the pictures of, look, it's the Marvel women, and it's okay, well, they all look the same, they're all not dressed very much, and I don't know who they are, so there must not be... they can't be that good.
So I was thinking... yeah, you're probably right about that. I guess in theory, right? Because the superhero... Superman also isn't that cool until he's, conveyed on TV and movie and stuff. Women have it worse, but I'm just, there are plenty... I guess... My point was there are plenty of women that you could turn awesome they did everything else that they made awesome.
That's fair. They did make superheroes cool, and that was once considered an impossible task, so I do feel like they could take the extra step.
And there are some cool ones. And I would argue that variations of Raven are pretty dope.
She's a cool one, yeah.
She is really
That would be fun
cool.
to see a decent version of on screen, guys, come on.
She is truly daddy issues, the character, but her dad is also
You have to. So here's the thing.
Demon Lord.
The main issue is that people who like the old comics are very dead set on the lore staying the same, or at least had been for a while. Maybe that's changed now with the new MCU. But
Yeah.
like, I think in order to make the female characters good, you have to go in and edit more of them than you do with the male characters. Like Iron Man was able to translate pretty 1-to-1 from comic to screen, I think.
Yeah.
But like, you gotta change stuff about the women, or it's just not gonna fly now.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like you have to sacrifice some consistency with the old material and some of the, the integrity of the old material to make the character work now in most cases.
I think Captain Marvel is really good in theory, and I still stand by a lot of the things they did and understand what they were going for, but I do think that you have pointed out that it didn't convey to men for some reason.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the movie's fault or if it was our fault.
I don't know. know. She doesn't stick in my brain as like super fun or interesting or anything like that, but I do think her storyline is actually really good. The one that they attempted to convey and stuff, and I think
it was
did
good
a really
too.
good job.
I feel like I should probably rewatch it. I had that year that I mentioned to you at the time where I went and watched. I watched 3 movies that year that I left going. Wasn't that into that. Don't know why. And those 3 movies were Coco, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel. And by the end of the 3rd one, I was like, I might need to re-examine some stuff.
Right.
Like there's a pattern showing up.
Yeah.
Maybe I should think about why I'm not getting as invested in these movies for some reason.
Yeah.
Because it's like on paper it's the same thing. So I don't know why I'm not getting as into this as I am into all the other ones that are exactly the same, but with chiseled-jawed white guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, that maybe there's like a latent thing in there still.
Maybe I should look at something about myself and see if there's anything lingering there that I was unaware of. I don't specifically like any of those movies, though.
I want to rewatch a lot of them, especially Coco, because everyone talks about it, and I keep seeing things brought up about it, and I don't know why the day I watched it, I wasn't that into it.
I didn't like Coco.
Everything you didn't see it. We've been over this. You haven't watched the movie.
Sorry. I watched the first 20 minutes and was like, this is boring.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous. It's not boring. Like, I've seen stuff about it afterward, and I'm like, that movie wasn't boring. Why did I think that movie was boring? Is it really just because it was, like, set in Mexico and I just couldn't relate properly and couldn't let myself, like, be absorbed with them? I don't know. I'm still judging myself for not enjoying those movies, and I want to go rewatch them and make sure that it was... and see if it was real, or... I'm pretty suspicious that it was not actual... It had nothing to do with the movie, and it was just me having a problem, like, relating.
Small Splat
and
says...
that's dumb. I need to go rewatch them.
Small Splat says, I know nothing of these topics to comment. And I don't know why I woke up so chatty about random things today, but I really did. Turtle Army Jess says, I prefer the older X-Men movies. I do too. The women in those are really good. They're just good.
It was just a good tone. It was a great tone to start off the superhero genre with, of like...
And then we killed it.
I don't think we killed it. I like the version that we have. But I do think some things were...
I've seen like 3 out of the 5 new X-Men movies. I'm trying to remember...
The X-Men we may have killed. I don't know. I haven't watched a lot.
I know. I'm just trying to remember any women in them. Who's in them? I only know Sansa now for some reason. She's the only one that's sticking. I don't remember a single...
Yeah, I don't know.
Female X-Men.
I haven't seen most of them.
Yeah, I don't know. People talk about Squirrel Girl. I don't know anything about Squirrel Girl.
I don't either. People seem to like her a lot.
Gaslight Studio says, either of you watched Boardwalk Empire or The Godfather? No.
No, I have not. I actually have not seen pretty much any mobster stuff at all.
Same.
Like our entire video is just a hammy version. That was everything I know about the mob genre. Actually, that video. But I've never been super interested, I guess, in that.
Mystique. That's right. Okay, that's who. Okay, Mystique is.
That's true. She's pretty prominent.
And she's. Oh, I like the new X-Men. Okay, it's all coming back now.
There's some really. I mean, there's like, yeah, was it First Class great?
Yes, it was. It was super good. Is it only Mystique? Mystique and 5 dudes, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. X-Men stuff never really stuck either for me. I don't know why. I was never able to... I only just watched the original 3 movies with you, like this year.
Yeah, the originals are super good. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique, yeah. I didn't like Mystique originally because Jennifer Lawrence played her. And I didn't like Jennifer Lawrence because of internalized misogyny, so...
we just to throw out one more thing, I guess, before we cut off. I just watched before the show ends. I just watched all of the Hunger Games movies, and I had no idea they were that good. Like no one, I for some reason I had in my head that they were like a teen novel kind of thing, and it was gonna be like a love triangle and some kind of high stakes thing, but like ultimately, I don't know, like you know the teen novel kind of like the dark
Twilight.
edgy facade, the Twilight kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's like really like intensely accurate like political thriller, and I did not know that was what I was signing up for.
Yeah.
Like the genre changes over the course of the movies, and I didn't even know. I had no idea. I've never seen anything do that before. So now it makes sense. Like I watched through it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is why like the third movie wasn't accepted well, because the audience for the first movie was not the audience for the last movie. But I freaking loved them. I was like incredibly surprised at how good they were. And
No, the new Hunger Games are really phenomenal. I will always be sort of like
we watched.
disappointed at how they didn't land.
Yeah, I was expecting them to. Every movie that came up, you and I like before, you were like, this one didn't do as well, and I was like, okay, well, like, and then I braced myself for that, and then it was better than the last one every single time.
So someone says next on the watch, or Drayon says next on watch list, Hunger Games. So Hunger Games is a series about war, nothing else.
Yeah,
brutal,
I just didn't even
awful war, and not even just like it's not like physically. It's not like visually disturbing in the same way as it is. It's a movie about emotional warfare and actual
It is emotionally
warfare.
disturbing. That's what it is actually.
Like
it's,
the Hunger Games develop into like you start on one and you're like, wow, what a kind of crazy concept, and then by the fourth one you're like, oh my fucking god, I didn't know that they were gonna do this. I feel wholly unprepared.
Tactics Lion says he only saw the first one. I was the same. I'd only seen the first one and I think some of the second one. And I was like, okay, I've seen half the series. I had not seen half the series. It escalates so much at past that. Like the Hunger Games part of the Hunger Games story is so small compared to the rest of it. We just watched all 4 movies in one day the other day. We just had a day off and we started the first one and then just went through all of them because they were like $2 each to rent on Amazon.
I can't believe how good they were. I didn't remember them being good because people didn't go watch them to talk about it, but they were wrong. Those movies are amazing. There's love for Elliot Page in chat.
Oh, why?
He is in the.
Are we talking about that?
He has.
Oh, Kitty Pryde. Okay.
His former self is in the new X-Men movies as Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I just haven't seen enough of the new X-Men movies. I don't
actually know like proper terminology on this because as I know Elliot Page, I only know them as their previous identity, and so I don't know how you refer to them. Like, was it Elliot Page No, but like, was it Elliot Page in Juno?
So also, people probably don't know what's going on either.
If you call them Ellen Page, and that's their dead name, and that's disrespectful. But at the same time, they have a whole like.
Yeah, because they're credited a different way, right? Like, what do you do legally when you change
No, I don't think they are credited a different way anymore. Because it'd be like IMDb.
Well, they are. They're embedded in the film. Like it's. I mean,
that's
the
true.
Credits play in the movie, and that's the name. Like
that's a good point. Yeah, because there isn't a ton of like famous trans people that transitioned.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. It's like
modern time.
Like people change their name if they get married or something, and they're still credited the old way in the old movies. It's not really the same thing, but like I don't know how that's. Yeah. I don't know how you do that. It hasn't happened enough, I guess, for there to be like a precedent step for it.
Yeah, it's not really a common thing that happens. So I don't know because so I can like not to be disrespectful, but it would be somewhat confusing to say that Elliot Page, a man, was the lead star of Juno, where a young girl gets pregnant.
Maybe, I guess. I mean, it's only confusing without the context of like... It's only confusing
if you don't know who it is, I guess.
I mean, it's only confusing if you don't accept that... The reason it shouldn't be confusing is because you should immediately go, oh, okay, it's a trans person. I mean, it shouldn't be...
If someone told me that a male actor played a young girl in their previous, like, if someone told me that, like, a male actor played a young girl in a movie they did 15 years ago, I would not assume they were trans.
I guess,
like, it wouldn't be my first assumption.
maybe that's just because
it'd be easy to figure out.
That might change. I guess is what it is. Like at some point, that might just be the assumption because it's just
I mean, I'm fine doing whatever people tell me to do. It just hasn't happened in Hollywood enough for me to know how you I think do that.
Small Splat, I think, said it best for me, which is just because you change your name, you don't lose all your achievements. I guess that's fair. It's like if you update your name, I would still want those things attributed to me, not to a name I don't use anymore. So that's fair.
Yeah.
I would want that to be referred to. Like, yeah, I would like change it in places that I could. Obviously, you really can't update it. Again, like when it's embedded in the film, it's like it's just kind of there. But like as far as like listing off what so and so was in, I wouldn't want it to be like on the internet still as like Ellen Page was in these movies, and then Elliot. It's like no, it's the same person. Like just like go change my name on IMDb, right? Like
yeah. No, I think they still deserve all of their achievements. I'm just wondering like how I guess it doesn't really matter. I've never like told anybody. I'm not sure that it actually matters because I'm not sure I talk about actors that way anyway. Like,
yeah.
No, I don't know actually. I have not brought up Elliot Page or.
I guess to me, it's actors are like the training wheels version of this.
Yeah.
Like you should be if you can't refer to an actor as their current name, you're gonna have a lot more trouble if you have somebody in your actual life to have to refer to them as their name. Like you should at least be able to. You have no investment in an actor's life. Just call them what their name is, right? Like it's not even like there is no emotional connection there. You don't know them. There's not even the hang-ups people tend to have on that. Like if it's somebody you personally know, that doesn't exist if it's an actor. It's just a person you will never meet.
The principle of respect still exists by outwardly treating them like a human to other people.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
it's it's a test for like you should at bare minimum be able to do it with actors because there isn't any reason. Like I mean, there isn't any reason not to if you know the person either. But it's like it's so much easier if you're talking about somebody who you have no investment in or connected. It's like baseline. You should be able. It shouldn't be like a difficulty at all.
Are you allowed to say like previously known as? Or is that
if
weird?
it's relevant, maybe, but it probably wouldn't be relevant in most cases. I guess that's what it like. Why are you saying that?
Because, again, if I told somebody that they need to watch Juno because Elliot Page is in it, they're not going to know what I'm talking about. As, like, the main... Juno starring Elliot Page doesn't make nearly as much sense. And when they go, what's it about? And I'm like, a young, pregnant high school girl.
Right.
And then they're like, what? And then I guess you have the opportunity to explain it. But it seems like a normal flow of conversation would be like, Elliot Page, formerly known in that movie as Ellen Page... played this role.
I guess if it was relevant to the communication and it really would be confusing otherwise, then it's not, like, I don't see it being a problem clarifying, but I don't actually see it being an issue that somebody brought up the Wachowskis, and, like, it's the directors that made the Matrix, and they were brothers at the time.
Yeah.
They were known as the Wachowski brothers.
Uh-huh.
But one of them is trans now, maybe both, I don't remember actually what ended up happening with that, but like you just like there aren't really any situations where you would need to bring up that detail. I guess is what it is. I mean, and it's a little bit different with an actor, obviously, because they're in the movie.
Right. I kind of originally thought that because I have not brought up Elliot Page ever, like in the last like 5 years. Like that's just not something I've done. But like, if Scarlett Johansson came out as trans, that would change a lot of the way that you perceive the movies that she was in previously, because she is a prominent person with a very prominent facing gender to society and the roles she picked.
I guess. So it doesn't change it in that movie, though. Like, it doesn't change the character's
It's not about
gender.
changing the movie, it's about conveying the role to people. Like, it's about explaining... I don't know.
I guess I don't get this detail about describing things to people usually when I'm telling them about the movie either.
You don't say who's in it?
I may sometimes. But like even if I say who's in it, it's like I don't know.
This isn't
I don't
a
see this being as big of a problem.
It's not a conversation about principle. It's about flow of proper use of terminology to make sure that you are making sense when you say something. I
understand. I think these issues probably wouldn't come up enough to be an issue. It's really what it is. It's like maybe you'd stumble over it once, but it wouldn't be any different than any other English language stumble that you might have that you have to clarify just because our language doesn't fully cover concepts well enough. Like I don't see it being that common of a problem.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I guess that's it. It's like maybe you're right. Maybe it would make a point of confusion every now and then while trying to communicate something to somebody, but I don't think it would happen nearly often enough for it to be.
I guess that's just an opportunity to be like, they are trans and
right. At the very
the
least, that
end.
would be. Yeah, I think it's pretty much it would be. It'd be like, yeah, Elliot Page was in this movie. She was Ellen Page at the time. It was before she transitioned. Done. Like, right. Like,
yeah.
it's not offensive to acknowledge that the person transitioned. She was, there was a point where she did the transition, and before that, she had not yet. That is how time works. We can acknowledge that was the.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I
the
guess it's
transition
never really a
of
bad
time.
thing if all you have to do is make clarification on the way a new thing works now. But I don't think that there's any. I'm not trying to make any argument that anybody would need to be referred to as something that is offensive to themselves. Only that it changes the way you would describe something because they're so prominent to the public as a figure. Like, they exist as like, as a celebrity, you exist on multiple fronts, including gender, roles that you've done, ways you speak out, and all those kind of things. And I do think Small Splash said it really well, which is that being, like, transitioning doesn't in any way take away the things that you've done, but it will inherently confuse some people at first.
Yeah.
Like, even if they have no issue with it existing. I'm not really sure I have another point outside of that.
Yeah, I don't think that person should catch up, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I would just clarify. Like, I don't really see it being an issue that's too disruptive, I guess.
I think that's true. It's like, ultimately, if you're like, hey, Elliot Page and Juno, and they're like, I thought Juno was a bad girl, and you're like, Elliot Page is a trans man, and then they go, oh, and then that's it.
Right.
That's over.
Right.
Everything should make sense now,
Obstacles
right?
surmounted. Yeah, I don't know what else.
Click. Okay. Well, there you go.
Arif's asks, is this a can you separate the art from the artist conversation? I guess a little bit, yeah. Because I think that's also for me too. Like, again, if Scarlett Johansson transitioned into a man,
Where's Autumn? Autumn would have so much good information
that's
on
true.
this.
I would like it wouldn't change any of the I'm only looking at things as the character, not really as the actor most of the time.
Yeah.
So like I don't like it's whatever they look like they're in the movie. Like whoever they are in the movie is who they are. It's the character that matters, not the actor, I guess, in that instance.
That's Juno.
Right.
Just Juno.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's a female there, so like I don't know. That seems to be all that matters.
She's a female in the movie.
Right. The character is. I'm watching the character. I don't really care as much about the actor.
I wonder how hard that is to have transitioned and then to know all of your roles exist to an identity that you don't, like, vibe with anymore.
I'm sure it's still probably better because it's...
Vibe with
that's your
sounded like
past.
such a disrespectful way. I just don't vibe with my gender. That's so rude. I'm so sorry.
Somebody asked something unrelated earlier and I can't remember what it was.
I don't think that's how trans works, by the way. I don't think you're just like, I don't vibe with my born identity. I don't...
Small Spot said Autumn left for the winter. I think he wins.
Oh.
Alright, somebody send us the push the button. We're going to go and close the show up. Somebody asked something. I was going to answer it, and I don't remember what it was.
What was it about?
It was Iranian Soul just asked just for some clarification. Will be more TGT at some point in the future. I just wanted to say yes, there will be. We've answered a few times.
We have so many projects planned, ready to film.
Yeah, we do.
That we just can't because we can't be in the same room with people still.
If COVID suddenly went away right now, we would have $30,000 to go film a movie and all the time in the world to do it. Like literally, we could just go out and start doing it right freaking now. I have software that helps me like generate any location I want now. We can like there's so much that we're so much better off now to do it. I think the more time goes on, the more equipped we are to make the movie. We're just waiting for the gate to open. The second it does, we're going. Yeah. There's the series, the spy series with Matt that's ready to go at a moment's notice. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Ursa did say, I mean, you're an actor, you might play roles with personalities you don't vibe with, and that's fucking the most accurate way to describe it, yeah.
I don't know if it makes it more confusing or easier to be a trans actor, because...
I'm proud of all the people who were like, I don't vibe with gender. I think that's rad.
Gender gives me bad vibes. Same. Adam just submitted a push the button. He said, everyone washes their butts, but no more of Miles Morales.
No. I don't push this button. one, people already aren't washing their butts, and Miles Morales exists, and I exist in this world, and I'm content enough with it.
You don't want it to. You don't want
Other
it to reverse.
people's dirty butts are not my problem.
Yeah, fair enough.
Only the people I have to interact with. And I obviously express this opinion, so I really don't feel like this is a problem I run into. So in my life, I am surrounded by clean butts and Miles Morales. I have no issues currently in this state.
Constantly surrounded by Miles Morales. Alright, thank you guys for tuning in. I think we'll be back tomorrow.
I think so too.
And then,
we are thinking.
and we'll revisit some stuff. Yeah, we'll talk more tomorrow about this, but we're thinking about adjusting the schedule a little bit just to make it easier to. We're still trying to find the sweet spot for the show so we can make it the most number of days. So that we can
still do it.
Yeah. But we will see you guys tomorrow at the normal time for now. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good day, and we'll see you later. Bye.